It's hard to believe, but scientists are detecting strange signals beneath America's biggest volcanoes. From Alaska to the Pacific Northwest, something unusual is stirring deep underground.
The United States is now making threat assessments for volcanoes. The USGS, or U.S. Geological Survey, has updated those for the first time since 2005.
It's hard to believe, but scientists across the United States have just detected mysterious signals rising from deep beneath the nation's most powerful volcanoes. From the icy peaks of Alaska to the molten chambers of the Pacific Northwest, something strange is happening under America's feet. Something that could redefine what we think we know about volcanic behavior. Over the past several months, seismic networks operated by USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Observatory have recorded an unprecedented pattern of low-frequency vibrations, faint, rhythmic pulses unlike normal earthquakes. These harmonic tremors often appear before magma begins to rise, but this time, they're not confined to a single site. They're showing up everywhere, under Mount Rainier. At first, researchers thought the data was a glitch, maybe sensor interference or an algorithmic error. But as satellite radar confirmed ground deformation and subtle heat anomalies around several calderas, the picture became impossible to ignore. The Earth's crust across the western United States is pulsing in unison. Scientists describe it as if the land itself is breathing. Every few weeks, the ground subtly lifts and falls by centimeters, synchronized across hundreds of miles. An impossible coincidence if each volcano were acting alone. The signals are too deep for human-made sources and too regular for random seismic noise. Some researchers now suspect a massive magmatic corridor, a buried superstructure linking America's volcanoes through shared molten reservoirs far below the surface. What's fueling it? Rising heat from the mantle? Pressure redistribution after decades of quiet? Or something far older? A continental heartbeat slowly awakening. If these signals mean what scientists fear, a networked magmatic system, then an eruption at one volcano could potentially influence another, creating a domino effect unseen in modern times. So the terrifying question stands: what if the volcanoes of the American West aren't isolated giants, but parts of one living system finally beginning to move? Don't look away now, because as USGS scrambles to decode the signals, we may be witnessing the first whisper of a nationwide awakening beneath the Earth's surface. Stay tuned. The story beneath America is only beginning to speak. Chapter 1. The nationwide tremor, a signal spreading across America. What if what scientists just discovered beneath US volcanoes isn't isolated, but part of a continent-wide pulse? In early reports released by the USGS Volcano Hazards Program, researchers confirmed that faint rhythmic tremors, once thought to be background noise, are now appearing simultaneously across multiple states. From Mount Shasta in California to Yellowstone in Wyoming and Mount Hood in Oregon, the same pattern is emerging. Deep, slow vibrations repeating every 40 to 60 minutes, like a synchronized heartbeat echoing through the crust. At first, geologists dismissed the phenomenon as coincidence, but after months of data review, they realized the tremors were phase-locked, meaning they were happening in perfect rhythm, separated by thousands of miles. That shouldn't be possible. Volcanoes don't communicate. At least, that's what we thought. Thermal satellite scans have since revealed a corridor of elevated heat running diagonally beneath the western US, connecting regions once believed to be geologically separate. In Oregon, ground deformation maps show uplift patterns identical to those found beneath Yellowstone's caldera rim. And hundreds of miles south, Nevada's Long Valley caldera is showing identical seismic fingerprints. The same low-frequency hum, the same rhythmic distortion. Some scientists now theorize that this could represent a continental magma wave, a slow migration of molten material deep below the crust, possibly triggered by tectonic stress along the Pacific Plate. Others fear it's evidence that America's entire volcanic network may share one massive, pressurized mantle source, almost like the Earth itself is transmitting something. If these volcanoes are truly connected by a single pulse, then the next eruption, wherever it happens, could set off a chain reaction across the western United States. So here's the terrifying question. What if the ground beneath America isn't fractured, but alive, breathing, and preparing to speak again? Stay tuned, because if this pattern continues, scientists warn we may soon face the first coordinated volcanic event in US history. Chapter 2. The Awakening Beneath the Rockies. It's hard to believe, but one of the most stable regions in the United States may be hiding something that's anything but calm. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, far from any known eruption zone, scientists have detected a new and unexplained surge of seismic and magnetic activity, and the pattern doesn't match anything they've ever seen before. For decades, the Rockies have been considered geologically quiet, shaped by ancient uplift, not modern magma. But in recent months, seismic arrays stretching from Montana to Colorado have picked up deep harmonic tremors, the same kind of rhythmic waves that often precede volcanic unrest. Even more unnerving, they're coming from depths of nearly 25 miles, far below the reach of tectonic faults. At first, experts at the USGS thought it was plate stress from the Pacific coast echoing inland, but satellite radar interferometry told a different story. Across wide sections of Wyoming and Utah, the ground has begun to rise and fall by millimeters every few weeks, as if the continent itself was subtly breathing. And directly beneath these areas, magnetotelluric surveys revealed something startling: a zone of anomalous conductivity, consistent with molten or semi-molten rock slowly pushing upward. If confirmed, it would mean that the Rockies, long thought extinct volcanically, are being fed by a magma body rising from the mantle. Some geologists now believe this could be part of a massive mantle upwelling stretching all the way from the Yellowstone hotspot. Others warn that the signals could be early evidence of something deeper still, a continent-wide heat surge caused by shifts in Earth's interior convection currents. This wouldn't be the first time the Rockies have felt such forces. Geological records show that volcanic fields once dotted this landscape, and that magma chambers still linger miles below the surface, dormant but not gone. Now, after millions of years, they may be reawakening. So the question is no longer whether America's volcanoes are stirring, but whether the continent itself is beginning to move. If the Rocky Mountains are no longer asleep, what else beneath the heart of America might soon awaken? Chapter 3. The Yellowstone Connection. What if America's most famous supervolcano isn't acting alone anymore? At the center of the mystery lies Yellowstone, a name that has haunted scientists and headlines for decades. But the new signals shaking the western US suggest that Yellowstone's vast magma reservoir, once believed to be self-contained, might be linked to a larger, hidden network beneath the continent. Over the past few months, the USGS Yellowstone Volcano Observatory has documented a sharp increase in deep, long-period earthquakes, slow, rhythmic tremors that often occur when magma and superheated fluids move through rock. Yet this time, something is different. The tremors are synchronized with signals detected as far away as Oregon and Nevada. In late-night data sessions, researchers noticed something chilling. Every time a pulse hit the sensors under Mount Hood or Long Valley Caldera, a matching vibration echoed beneath Yellowstone roughly 20 minutes later. These quakes weren't random. They were traveling through the crust like a message. Thermal satellite imagery adds another layer to the mystery. In January, instruments detected an abnormal rise in surface heat around Yellowstone's western rim, a zone that hasn't shown significant change in decades. The temperature spike wasn't caused by seasonal shifts or geyser activity. It originated from deep underground, the same depth as the harmonic tremors now plaguing multiple states. Geologists are now exploring a radical theory that magma corridors, massive conduits stretching beneath the western US, may allow heat, pressure, and seismic energy to flow between volcanoes like arteries in a living system. If true, Yellowstone may be acting as a pressure valve for something much larger, a vast interconnected volcanic network buried beneath the continent. The implications are staggering. If one volcano in this system erupts, others could be destabilized. What begins as a local event could cascade into a continental chain reaction, something unseen since prehistoric times. So the question haunting researchers tonight is this: if Yellowstone isn't alone, what exactly is waking up beneath America's heartland? And how much time do we have left before it speaks again? Stay with us, because the next chapter may reveal how far this underground pulse has already traveled, and which volcano might erupt first. Chapter 4. The Pacific Pulse. Volcanoes of the West Coast begin to stir. It's hard to believe, but the same mysterious signals rumbling beneath Yellowstone are now being detected off the western coast of the United States, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean's floor. And experts fear that this may be the missing piece of a much larger puzzle, one that connects the land's volcanoes with the sea's hidden fire. In recent months, seismic arrays along the Cascadia subduction zone, stretching from Northern California to British Columbia, have picked up unprecedented harmonic tremors moving eastward, directly toward America's most dangerous volcanoes. The pattern begins near Axial Seamount, an active undersea volcano 250 miles off the Oregon coast. Researchers at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, PNSN, were stunned when they realized the tremors weren't random. They pulsed at regular intervals, roughly every 47 minutes, matching the frequency already observed beneath Yellowstone. At the same time, satellites detected tiny ground uplifts across Oregon and Washington, as though the entire region were breathing in rhythm with the deep ocean floor. Thermal imaging from NASA's MODIS satellites revealed something even more alarming: faint heat anomalies stretching in a near-perfect line from the undersea ridges to the mainland volcanoes. This heat chain, as some call it, could indicate a magma corridor forming beneath the continental shelf, a pressurized artery slowly delivering molten rock toward the coast. The implications are appalling. If Axial Seamount, one of the most active submarine volcanoes in the world, were to erupt in sync with a land-based volcano like Mount Hood, the combination could unleash tsunamis, ash plumes, and atmospheric disruptions on a scale not seen in modern history. Even the US Geological Survey has acknowledged that these seismic correlations are highly unusual. Scientists caution that while an eruption isn't imminent, the pattern suggests a new phase of tectonic connectivity between oceanic and continental systems, a geological chain reaction in slow motion. So the chilling question now hangs over the Pacific Northwest. What if the ocean itself has joined the land in preparing to erupt? Because if these signals continue to strengthen, the next disaster may not come from a single volcano, but from the entire Pacific edge moving as one. Chapter 5. The Cascadia Warning: when the fault and the fire meet. What if the deadliest natural threat to North America isn't one volcano, but a collision of two unstoppable forces: the Cascadia subduction zone and the volcanic arc that rides above it? Stretching from Northern California to Vancouver Island, the Cascadia megathrust is a 1,000-kilometer fault capable of producing earthquakes over magnitude 9.0, the kind that don't just shake cities, but reshape coastlines. For centuries, scientists believed its danger was primarily seismic, but now evidence is mounting that Cascadia's hidden pressures may be awakening the volcanoes above it. Recent GPS and INSAR data show something disturbing. The crust between the coastline and the Cascade volcanoes is deforming in unison. The land isn't just moving horizontally, as it should during subduction. It's also rising and pulsing vertically by up to 15 millimeters every few months. That might sound small, but across hundreds of miles, it represents billions of tons of rock shifting in rhythm. These tremors are essentially the Earth's whispered warnings. The subduction zone is sliding, gas is moving upward, and magma is responding. In 2024, researchers at the University of Washington made a discovery that sent ripples through the geological community. Using magnetotelluric imaging, the boundary between earthquake zone and eruption zone is blurring. What this means is chilling. An earthquake in Cascadia could now directly trigger volcanic eruptions inland, turning a single disaster into a cascading chain of events. Literally. Imagine the ground splitting, ash filling the sky, and pyroclastic flows descending while the coast reels from tsunamis and aftershocks.
Chapter 6.
The Silent Giants of California. Pressure building in the Golden State. It's hard to believe, but while the world watches Yellowstone and the Pacific Northwest, California's ancient volcanoes may be quietly preparing for their own awakening. From the lava fields of the Lassen Volcanic Center to the sprawling depression of Long Valley Caldera, subtle signals suggest that the Golden State's ground is far from stable. The first clue came from satellite radar. Beginning in late 2024, NASA's INSAR systems detected unexplained uplift near Mammoth Lakes, a slow, steady swelling that has now raised the ground nearly 8 centimeters in less than a year. To the untrained eye, the change is invisible, but to scientists, it's a red flag. Magma is on the move. Long Valley is no ordinary volcano. It's a supervolcano, capable of eruptions that could blanket entire states in ash. Its last cataclysmic explosion, 760,000 years ago, scattered debris across the continent. And while it has slept since then, its magma chamber still simmers, vast, semi-molten, and connected to deeper mantle flows that stretch toward the Sierra Nevada. Even Mount Shasta, dormant for centuries, has shown small but measurable changes in gas output. The pattern is unmistakable. Pressure is building, not at one point, but across the entire volcanic chain.
USGS researchers describe it as a slow pulse, a continent-wide rhythm of magma redistribution. In plain terms, the Earth beneath the western US is pressurizing again.
Chapter 7. Alaska's Awakening, the North's Hidden Inferno. What if the greatest danger isn't rumbling beneath Yellowstone or California, but rising silently from the frozen north? In the last year, seismic networks have detected hundreds of earthquakes beneath Alaska's volcanic arc, a region that stretches for more than 2,500 kilometers across the North Pacific. These aren't ordinary tremors. They're deep, rhythmic, and clustered. The kind of signals that almost always mean one thing: magma is on the move. It began near Mount Spur, a snow-covered titan just 80 miles west of Anchorage. Sensors picked up a swarm of low-frequency quakes at depths of 20 to 30 miles. At first, experts thought it was just ice movement, until thermal imagery revealed a circular zone of rising heat directly beneath the summit. The volcano's last eruption in 1992 coated airplanes in ash and shut down Alaska's largest airport. Now, the same signs are back, stronger, wider, and spreading. But Spur isn't alone. The nearby Mount Redoubt, Augustine, and Makushin volcanoes are showing the same disturbing trend. Synchronized tremors separated by hundreds of miles, pulsing every 45 minutes. The same frequency recorded in Yellowstone and the Cascades. This can't be coincidence. It's the same geological heartbeat reverberating through the crust. And then came the discovery that shocked even veteran geologists. Using seafloor mapping technology, researchers at the Alaska Volcano Observatory found a line of fresh, hydrothermal vents, glowing hot and rich in sulfur, along the Aleutian Trench, connecting several undersea volcanic domes. It appears Alaska's volcanoes aren't isolated peaks at all, but the surface scars of a massive, continuous magma belt stretching beneath the ocean floor. Chapter 8. The Continental Awakening, America's hidden network beneath our feet. What if everything we've seen so far, the tremors in Yellowstone, the pulses under the Pacific, the pressure in California, and the quakes across Alaska, are not separate warnings, but parts of one colossal message from the Earth itself? At first, scientists blamed the oceans, tides, even human interference. But the deeper they looked, the more impossible the truth became to ignore. These pulses aren't surface echoes. They're originating from the mantle itself, nearly 400 miles beneath the crust, a molten corridor that appears to stretch beneath the entire western half of North America. Thermal imaging confirms a continuous plume of heat, bending eastward beneath the Rockies and north toward Alaska, a superstructure connecting the continent's most powerful volcanoes in one massive system. Some call it the American Magma Highway, a network that has been dormant for thousands of years. Now, it's stirring again. If the system reaches a tipping point, the pressure release could trigger a chain reaction of eruptions, each one amplifying the next. Even a small breach could destabilize the fragile balance holding the continent's crust in place. The result? Megaquakes, ash clouds, sky-darkening explosions. This isn't speculation anymore. Instruments from NASA's Publicate, the signals are real, growing stronger and spreading faster. The Earth beneath the United States is alive, and it's trying to tell us something. So here's the question that echoes across every research station tonight. Is this the first sign of the next great continental awakening, or a warning we've already ignored too long? If this story shook your sense of safety, don't stop here. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us as we uncover what scientists are afraid to say out loud. Because one thing's for sure, the ground beneath America is changing, and the planet has just begun to speak.